Great Falls, Montana, winter of 1996. Detective Bill Belushi had seen his share of strange cases, missing teens, domestic violence, small town crimes, but this one would haunt him for the rest of his life.
Jonah was born David Brown. He actually started engaging in assaulting younger children when he was 10 years old.
A 10-year-old boy named Zachary Ramsay left home one morning for school and vanished in broad daylight. No witnesses saw him arrive. No backpack, no body, nothing. Just air. Belushi didn't know it yet, but he was about to walk straight into a nightmare that felt less like a crime and more like a descent into evil itself. The investigation started like every other. Door-to-door canvassing, flyers, interviews. Zachary's mother said he'd been cheerful that morning, wearing a blue jacket, carrying his homework. By noon, the town was blanketed with posters. By night, the parents had lost hope. Then, a neighbor stepped forward. She'd seen a man that morning, tall, heavy-set, wearing a brown coat. Standing near the alley Zachary took every day. He wasn't from the neighborhood, and in the background, a beat-up white sedan. Bill wrote it down, a note that meant nothing then, but it would soon connect to something unimaginable. Days turned to weeks. Belushi couldn't sleep. Every morning he'd drive Zachary's route himself. The same cracked sidewalks, the same alley, hoping he'd missed something. He told his wife, "If that boy's out there, I'll find him." But deep down, he could feel it. This wasn't a runaway. Someone took Zachary. Fast forward to 1999. Another call, another case. A man had been impersonating a police officer, pulling over kids near the same area Zachary disappeared. Name on the report, Nathaniel Bar-Jonah. Belushi's instinct twitched. The man lived less than a mile from where Zachary vanished. And when Bill saw the car, his heart froze. An off-white sedan. Search warrant signed, Belushi led the raid himself. What they found didn't look like any home. Inside, walls covered with newspaper, strange drawings, children's photos, coded notes, lists of names, a freezer humming in the corner, and an odor that didn't belong in any kitchen. In the bedroom, a spiral notebook, written in cryptic code. Bill flipped it open. The first line read, "Little boy stew, cooked tender." He turned another page. Lunch meat from little Zachary. When Belushi ran Bar-Jonah's name, nothing came up locally, but something didn't fit. So he dug deeper, through old records, aliases, fingerprints. Then the system pinged back, a different name. David Paul Brown, Massachusetts, 1970s. Convicted child predator, attempted murder, released from a mental hospital and relocated to Montana under a new name.
Bar-Jonah was born David Brown, and he was born in Massachusetts. He actually started engaging in assaulting younger children when he was 10 years old.
Bill stared at the file in disbelief. How the hell did this man end up here? Free. He realized this wasn't just a missing person case. This was a system failure wearing human skin. They brought in forensic teams. The backyard of Bar-Jonah's apartment was dug up for 2 full days. Then a shovel hit something solid. At first glance, it looked like animal bone, but the lab said otherwise. It was human. More bones followed, small fragments, dozens. Bill's hands shook as each evidence bag came in. He thought of Zachary's mother, the hope she still carried. He thought about how he'd have to tell her what they'd found. But when the results returned, the DNA didn't match. Not Zachary, someone else. That meant there were more victims. Inside Bar-Jonah's kitchen, Bill found a meat grinder stained with hair. Neighbors said Bar-Jonah had hosted cookouts, serving deer meat, but no one ever saw him hunt. When police searched his freezer, they found packages labeled deer and venison. Forensics later revealed the meat wasn't from any animal, it was human. Bill said nothing for a long time. Then he whispered to the crime scene tech, "Close that freezer. We've seen enough." The evidence, journals, bones, coded recipes, painted a picture more horrific than words. And right there, in his notes, Bar-Jonah had written Zachary's name. Next to it, died. You'd think that was enough to end it, but it wasn't. Bar-Jonah was arrested. Belushi and the FBI prepared murder charges. Then came the blow Bill never expected. Zachary's mother refused to believe her son was dead. She said she'd seen him, alive, in photographs, grown up. She wouldn't testify. Without her confirmation, prosecutors couldn't prove death beyond doubt. The murder charge collapsed. Bill stood in the courthouse hallway as reporters shouted questions. He said only one thing: sometimes evil wins the paperwork, but not the war. Though the murder charge was gone, Belushi wasn't done. He built case after case: assaults, kidnappings, child torture. Every file pointed to Bar-Jonah. During one interrogation, Bar-Jonah smiled. He leaned across the table and whispered, "You think you found all the bones, detective?" Bill didn't flinch. He stared back and said, "You think the devil gets away from paperwork forever?" In 2002, Bar-Jonah was convicted of kidnapping and sexual assault. 130 years, no parole. When the verdict came down, Belushi felt no triumph, only relief and exhaustion that reached the bone. For years after, Belushi replayed the details, the journals, the recipes, the white car. He knew what they meant. Even if the court never called it murder, he knew. He'd look at Zachary's photo, the smiling kid with the backpack, and whisper, "I'm sorry we were too late." Bar-Jonah died in prison in 2008. Heart failure, they said. No final confession, no closure. Years later, Belushi would admit the case still haunted him. He'd solved crimes, caught killers, but this one felt unfinished, because evil doesn't always hide in darkness. Sometimes it walks in daylight, smiles at your kids, waves at your neighbors, and sometimes justice can't put a name on what you've truly seen. He once said in an interview, "When you look into a man like that, you stop believing in monsters, because you realize monsters believe in us."